Welcome to the third lesson in this brushes course. In this lesson, we're going to start coloring in our marshmallow using the brushes we created earlier. Okay, let's go. So first, I'm going to delete the reference image we used for the sketch, so I'm left with the outline we drew in the previous lesson. I'm going to give it a gray background. This way, we'll be able to perceive the saturation of the colors better. This layer is for our outline, so we'll call it outline. I like to divide my illustrations into sections. So first we're going to work on the marshmallow, then the stick, and finally the flame. I just like being organized for this step, and I really recommend you do the same. Let's call this folder marshmallow. So let's make another one for the stick and another one for the flame. Change the names of the layers to base and lock the folders we are not using right now. And let's start with this section. I'm going to use this color to color the inside of the marshmallow. You can look for reference images if you like. I've got these ones, which I'll upload for you to use. So here I have some images to reference burnt marshmallows. They turn quite dark and they're not smooth. They have quite a rough texture where they're burnt. So we'll try and imitate this as much as possible. You can work with your reference images next to your design if you like. I had a good look, so I know what I want. Let's start with the base, and for that we'll create a mask that will allow us to color only the areas that we want. So this will help us work a lot quicker. Again, this doesn't have to be perfect. Let's lower the opacity of the stroke a little. Let's do the same on the other side and for the legs. Now that it's all outlined, use the Wand tool to select the inside of the marshmallow. Go to Modify, Expand, and select 2 pixels. Then double-click on the Paint Bucket tool. Then double-click on the Paint Bucket tool and our first mask is done. Let's fill in some of the gaps and redo some parts. Let's just thicken the front leg a bit so it's the same as the other. Okay, I think this looks good. Now create a new layer and press Alt while selecting the layer underneath. And this makes a mask out of the base layer. So now we can paint on this one and it will only color in what we've selected. As you can see, we can work much quicker this way and make sure we don't go out of the lines. Now we're going to select the shaded parts. Let's lower the flow on our brush. What I'm doing now is mixing our brush with another brush to get this texture. And I'll save it. Now, what we need to do is go start adding color. I'm going to start with the shaded areas. So this lower part is our dark area. And with the lasso tool, I'm going to select only what I want to color. Let's darken this part even more. Yeah, I think that looks good. We just need to touch up the bottom here. Let's give it that texture I was talking about earlier. I'm going to use a finer brush for the eyes. I'm not really sure about this one, so we can just play around with it until we get what we want. I'm still not convinced by this. I'm going to leave it for the time being. Meanwhile, I'll think about exactly how I want it. Okay, let's do the burns bits here. So, more or less like this. Now let's add the real burns parts. It's taking shape. Okay, remember, this is just the base. Later we'll add lighting and shading. Okay, let's try the eyes again. Eyes done. Let's try the mouth. Great. We've got the base of our marshmallow. So now we're going to do the same for the stick. I'll add the leaf on here too. We need to add some details to the wood so it looks like it's going through the marshmallow. Let's add some shading to the wood to give it some texture. Let's select this option that allows us to paint on pixels. Okay, let's paint the leaf. I think I'll make the color of the wood a bit more orangey to contrast with the purple we used. Okay, we'll add in those details on the wood with a smaller brush. Okay, I think our base is done. We'll add more details in the next step. Okay, let's do the flame now. I think this is the easiest part, as it's quite spontaneous. We only need to use one brush. Okay, we can add some more little flames here. I'm just giving the orange color we have a bit of intensity and luminosity. I'll also add a bit of blue to the flame to make it a bit more interesting. Okay, let's draw that little smiley face on the flame. Great! Our next step is to add some lighting and shading to our design, which we'll see in our next lesson. Bye!